Hey guys, sorry I've been AWOL. I have been recovering from what you may ask, recovering from completing my first ultra marathon. So, yes, I did complete the Heysen 50 kilometer, which ended up being like 52.5. I felt every step of those extra 2.5 Ks. Yeah, it was awesome. I had an amazing time. I will most likely be returning next year. Um, and to do the 42 with my son because he was really inspired by it all and requested that he can do it. So he'll be 14 by next year's event, and that 42 Ks is as much as that they can do. So he wants to run that with his mama. So yeah, the event itself, amazing, incredibly set up. You can tell it's an established race because everything was just seamlessly. I'm sure the event organizers probably wouldn't say the same because they obviously put so much work and effort into the event to let the participants have a really easy experience. We jumped on buses like first the day before we had check-in, got our mandatory gear checked and everything. And then the day of, we went to the main area in Victor Harbor, jumped on our buses, and our buses took us to our start line. So the 50K started at midday. And yeah, it was actually a really warm day in Adelaide. We're just coming out of winter here, and it's been horrible. Obviously, if you look at my previous posts, I have hated the winter weather. But this day, the goddesses blessed us with a beautiful day. However, starting at midday, the first 20 odd Ks was insane. That was where the most of the elevation was, up and down the trails. I will put snippets in after all of this of the race so you can see it, but it was intense, insane, very technical, and in the heat of the day. So I got to the start line thinking I was going to be freezing. I almost bought a sweatshirt at the event before we jumped on the bus, but I decided against it just because I didn't like the color. um and I'm thankful that I did because it heated up really fast, especially climbing those inclines. So the first aid station we came into wasn't one that crew could access, but the whole event, the volunteers, I cannot speak into this enough. Like, you watch ultra YouTube documentaries, and they always speak of the volunteers of these events, but they truly are magical unicorns. We even had a unicorn start us off, dressed in a unicorn onesie, but they truly are. So the first aid station, there was fruit and hydration set up there, and they were wonderful. And that was after the first hill climb. The second one we came into was where my family could meet me, and it was so good to see them. And that was that was in between the first and second hill. So I came in, it was so good to see my kids and my partner, and I just got some extra stuff in. Hydration wise, I had a mixture. I was a little chemist the day before, and I was mixing pre-workout. Tell me you're a bodybuilder without telling me you're a bodybuilder. So I was mixing pre-workout with electrolytes, water, and a little bit of cordial. So the first two aid stations, I was downing the fluids, but by the third aid station I got to, I just wasn't interested in food or hydration. I was force feeding myself. So after the second aid station, I actually came across a gentleman. He had thought he may have been bitten by a snake. So there was 2 puncture wounds on his leg, and 2 specks of blood. Now, he didn't see a snake, but he was worried about it. So we stopped and he bandaged his leg up and then called for emergency services. And thankfully, we were only like 2 kilometers out from that second aid station. So that happened, and then continued on my way. The rest of the course was like a lot of rolling kind of paddocks. After that snake encounter, possible snake encounter, I got really I got really aware about the possibility of snakes. And in Australia, we don't just have cute little snakes. Like, we got snakes that can kill you very fast. So, this is getting into the afternoon now. And I could see that the sky was changing colors and everything. So that became a real drive of mine to power through. The the scenery was just absolutely magical, and I wish I got more on camera, but I didn't. I just was like, get to that finish line. So I will share what I captured, but it was nowhere near what I wanted to. But I ended up taking poles with me because I was told previously on one of the half marathons by a guy there that if I was going in injured, I'd need poles. And they were the best things I brought along the whole thing, because my knee blew out after the first aid station. I had a killer 10Ks. I even clocked a 5-minute kilometer in there. Like, I was just feeling it. It was amazing. And then when I got into the second aid station, everything started to really play up. On the second massive hill that I went down, I did stack it down twice, and I think that's where my knee blew out. The knee I normally have trouble with is my right knee. That remains solid throughout the whole race. It's still fine. It was my left knee that blew out, and almost 2 weeks later, it's still quite painful. So yeah, those poles saved me, and I was only intending to do the first 2 climbs and then hand them to my family at the aid station, but I held on to them for the whole race, and it was the best move ever. So that obviously made filming much harder because I had these poles, and I just bought cheap ones because I just didn't know if I'd ever use them again. So yeah, we did that, and then after the third aid station, I could see the sun setting. So with the snake thing in the back of my mind, I was just like, get through the long grass and the paddocks as much as I could, because I wanted to be out of those before the sun set. And we have daylight savings, so that brought me an extra hour, thankfully. And I did. And I came into the last aid station as the sun was setting. Again, I really powered through this race, and I was really surprised at myself. I got to the last aid station. By this time, I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to drink. I was just over it. And coming from someone whose love language is food, this is huge. So I had packed so much nutrition. And I was really good the first half of the race. But by the second half, my tummy just wasn't, it didn't want food. It didn't want hydration. It didn't want any of that. And I was force feeding myself sips of my drink, and occasionally like I'd grab a couple of lollies, but I didn't want any solid food. Where at the beginning I had some watermelon, my first aid station I had half a peanut butter sandwich, and I had some gels. I stopped using gels after had a little bit of a gel on the first one, then put it in my pack. Do not recommend doing that, because then it smooshed all through the pack and it was all over my phone. I'm sitting there trying to run while licking my phone. It was, yeah. And then after the last aid station, I don't know why they would do this, but we ended up on the beach in soft sand in the dark. Like, it was probably about 40 Ks in, and I ended up on soft sand, like the actual beach. So we're like getting through the beach, but it was dark and we couldn't see like the flags telling us where to go. But we got through that, and by then my knee was cooked. It was cooked. So got through it though, and then most of the rest was just like pavement alongside the beach. And it was beautiful. I wish I got there a little bit earlier to watch the sunset, because it would have just been magical. But yeah, I was doing that last bit in the dark. But I was happy to get out of Snake City. And yeah, the biggest thing that was driving me from my last aid station to the finish line was as it was getting dark, I didn't want my kids up too late. So I was trying so hard to get to that finish line so my kids would have a decent bedtime because I knew that they would want to be there at the finish line. And then, yeah, my watch clicked over at 50 Ks and I looked at it and I was like, that's not the end of the race. So it kept going, and yeah, I came into Victor Harbor. I finished in about 9.5 hours. I'll post everything after this. And yeah, it was an incredible experience. Really inspiring, met some incredible people on the trail. And I was really happy with that 9.5 hours, especially since I stopped for about half an hour to help the man out that with the potential snake bite. Yeah, I didn't sit down in any aid stations. My feet, oh, they were bad. I'll post a video of what my feet look like. I have now learned that you can get blisters under toenails. I never thought such a thing would exist, but you can. And then you can spend all week popping said blisters only to wake with them the next day full again. So my feet got a thrashing. But yeah, overall the experience was amazing. I was getting text messages from my kids throughout the whole race. My son kept sending me "Stay hard, Mama Goggins." So I love that. That's a nickname that he's attached to me over this last few years. Is yeah, Mama Goggins, and that was such a huge morale boost. When times were getting a bit I had my kids write messages on my arm so I'd see them and know that they were waiting for me. So yeah, an amazing experience. It's incredible to see what our bodies are capable of. Um, and yeah, it was awesome to test myself in a new way. Will this be my last ultra marathon? Definitely not. My son was very inspired and wants to do it again next year. But I don't know what my future plans will be in terms of sporting performances and giving things a go. I'm always on the hunt for a new challenge. Considering how broken my body felt going into this, I'm so grateful for it. It truly was amazing. I'm grateful for my mindset to push me through when my body was hurting and tired. I never had any moments of getting emotional or thinking I wouldn't finish. Cardiovascular wise, I had lots left in the tank. It was just the body. The body was tired and the knee was in excruciating pain, and I felt like my feet were going to explode. That's how bad it was. But I got across that finish line, took a moment, took my shoes off, and yeah. And I wish I could say my recovery's been great, but it hasn't. That was Saturday night, so we drove back on Sunday, and I went straight back into teaching fitness classes on Monday morning, broken bodied and all. So even, this last 2 weeks I've been nonstop with work and training clients and running fitness classes, and still navigating full-time school. So, and running a business. So, it's the body is an incredible vessel, and our minds are they're just amazing parts of us that can continuously getting stronger and grow and expand. And I really encourage those out there, if you have a little shoulder tap, like a wonder if I could do X, Y, and Z, go for it. You get to know yourself in different ways. And yeah, it was an amazing experience and one I look forward to doing again. So I will stop talking. Thank you for staying with me this long. And yeah, here is the rest of the documentation of the Heysen 50K. Stay tuned on this channel, because when I do think of my next idea, you guys will be the first ones to see it. See ya. We are off to Victor Harbor for the ultra marathon. We are going to check in. It's my mandatory stuff.
we're just doing signature. Can I give you a call back in?
We got tons of these crowberries around here. See they grow these little shrubs.
Hey guys, so we've checked into the Airbnb and now I'm gonna pack my pack. This is all the mandatory gear. So I'm taking the Solomon vest. I actually have, this is not mandatory, but it is a race belt just for ease for my number. We've got timing chips. We have to have an Australian standard safety vest to wear on roads and when it gets dark. Seam sealed rain vest. Headlamp with spare batteries. We need to have a minimum of 1 litre of water with us at all times. I've got quite a lot of these flasks, so in all different colours. So my plan is to have electrolytes in one, water in another, a little bit of pre-workout and cordial in another one. Just see what feels good on my tummy. It is a reusable cup race only, so one of those. We need gloves. A beanie. I've grabbed another one of these. You never know when if it gets super hot, you can keep it on you to, wet it, keep yourself cool, wipe down any dirt you might have. And then we've got a pretty strict first aid kit. So we needed to have snake bandages, minimum of 10 meters, a crepe bandage. We needed to have disposable gloves, triangular bandage, a ton of different strips like wound closures and I don't know what they're called, non-stick dressings, antiseptic wipes, and a space blanket. And that's pretty much everything that has to fit in here, plus my nutrition, and yeah, then I'm good to go. Okay, we are in prepping the drink situation. So I've got pink, green, and blue ones. So blue is going to be water. My pink ones are going to be a mixture of pre-workout and cordial, and my green ones are going to be a mixture of electrolytes. So as I come into each aid station, my son will be in charge of my hydration, so he'll pass me whatever I have got empty in, and yeah, hopefully in and out. It's race morning, so I'm starting off with some carbs, bagels, and an energy drink. The kids are writing me little mantras so I can keep going. What are you writing, Evie?
Keep going for the donuts. I love you.
Keep going for the donuts. I love you. What's that say?
Have a go.
Have a go from Jacko. Come on, darling. Guess what? Ben wrote. Refer to Facebook post. You got this. Love Ben. Hey, I have packed my nutrition box. So we got tons of different stuff. We got some salt tabs, peanut butter sandwich, and then I've got aid station bags with gels and all sorts of little energy snacks, all clearly marked, and then lots of just like random carb sources to help me along the way. Just lots of varied different snacks. Okay, just got through the first aid station. It's back there. So now I've got about 42 k's left to run. This trail is ridiculously technical. Okay, 5 hours in, almost 27 kilometers. Just had to stop. A guy on the trail may have been bitten by a snake, so we stopped, got his leg wrapped, and now emergency's on the way. Gone through 2 aid stations. The first 20 k's was the most technical, ass-kicking, I don't know what to even call it. You fucked me up good. But yes, 8 more k's to the next aid station. Check that view. Holy shit, this is beautiful. Totally worth the walk, the run, the climbing, the descending. "30 k's, officially the furthest I've ever run, and I just passed it. 36 kilometers.
So you sneak your numbers quickly.
I'm sorry.
5,100. No, you're right. Good work. Do you want a drink or anything? Are you going to the bathroom?
What was that one?
5,100.
Watermelon. That is what I've been craving. That's ocean, baby. Ocean. Ocean. "44 kilometers in." I don't know if I can see it. Okay, that is 50 kilometers, but I'm still going. So obviously the race is longer than 50.